Hey guys, and hello to my fellow cicadas out there. Welcome back to Treadstone Review. I really appreciate you taking the time to see the video. Before we get started, if you haven't watched the episode, stop what you're doing, watch first, come back and see us so we get to talk about it all together. Let's get started. So first we go into the opening scene of Doug basically going to see his friend at the trailer or where he lives. And this is where we left off at the end of part 5, was the fact that he is trying to undo what his friend saw. And when he went to see him and confront him, he basically told him that we just have to relax, people may be asking about him. And before he can do anything, Doug finds out that he got betrayed by his friend that called the cops because he couldn't go back to jail. And they went into a huge scene, I want to say, for a chasing scene. And I thought it was really kind of cool because it brought a little, again, back to the movie, and it brought some excitement to the show. So he starts tracing it down with his little motorbike, and then you see a cop who is also on a motorbike and chasing him down there, basically to a point where they lose control and Doug gets unconscious, wakes up, and finds the guy that he initially went to warehouse with orders is a cop. And this cop was there to just basically hog tie him and hold him steady until his, I guess, person or agent or someone who was in charge of him came and approached him, which we see is some random stranger guy. We don't know who he is yet. He seems to be something of a big importance in the future, but we won't know until going forward. So we see that this guy doesn't care about anything but the mission, so to speak, and he shoots the police officer, basically claims that Doug needs to follow orders and get on with the program, and asks him about the guy that was first after Doug and doesn't know that he's dead, which then Doug decides to, I guess, protect himself because he finds that this might be a guy that's unworthy or untrusting because he didn't want to answer any of his questions. He may be something like a CIA or FBI or something to a separate organization entirely, but we don't know yet who that person is. So he gets shot, this guy, and because he gets shot, he falls down, and Doug speeds away with the thinking that this guy really didn't get shot. He's just lying, or he's unconscious or something to that effect, and he just waits him on the side, which I thought was production wise was kind of stupid, because you see this guy drives away, that Doug is hiding in the bushes, but it's not like he's hiding far back in the bushes. It's like it's right near the road. So why this guy didn't notice that he was right there, I don't know. So I think that was like a production error. They should have really captured that a little bit more thoroughly, so that it makes it seem like realistic, which is what the whole idea of the show is to make it kind of seem like realistic. This could happen, this kind of great storyline, stuff of that sort. So I think that was a minor change, but I like the fact how they redeemed it in a sense when they went to another scene where this guy goes to a hotel, meets up with this woman. They go up to a 3rd floor. Doug follows them, not by physically going up to the 3rd floor and get next to a door or something like that, but he does make some makeshift type of microphone by stealing a laser pointer and a phone from a guy and a store, and make his own little makeshift microphone through these little pieces. So I thought that was really cool how they invented that, and I think that was kind of the redemption part. And he's scanning throughout the 3rd floor, which is the room that these people are going to be talking about, and he hears that these people are having a plan, and there's a certain type of plan that required Doug and Sam to be killed, and that way the plan can get back on track. So something Doug did sidetracked everything, either him and the other cicadas or someone else. Don't know yet who that one is. Alright, so we're going to talk about our Korean girl here, and basically we leave off from part of the scene at the last episode that she gets shot and is left in the jungle to defend herself, so to speak, or to die. So she's resilient enough where she's able to move around and gets down, a mountain, and finds a small village, which this small village was, nothing big of it spectacular, but they realize that she was there. They give her care and they treat her up and patch her up, and she wakes up to a doctor who is basically treating her wounds with a gunshot and things like that. The thing she can think of at that moment was to go, I need to get back home, I need to get back home, I need to be with my son, stuff of that sort. So she feels that these orders that she's been given has been met, so she decides to go back home. And when she gets back home, she finds that the home is empty. There's no one there, not even her husband. We are left there wondering what's going on. And then comes in the colonel, and the colonel basically says that this husband of hers will not be coming back home until she continues to follow the orders appropriately, which she feels that she has done everything possible to do it. But there's going to be more orders that she's going to be given, and that she needs to continue doing it. So that's where we kind of leave off on that conversation with our Korean girl and the colonel, is that she's not pulling her weight to the colonel's standards, and the husband's just more or less being detained. But at the end of that scene or their conversation, she's sneaking around and hides in the SUV of the colonel. So what we're going to see in the next episode, I think, is that we're going to see her find her husband locked away, either working and he does have no idea, or he's locked away in a jail cell type of thing, and people are, treating him but not treating him well enough. So I think that's where we're gonna see something. One of those two is gonna happen. I'm thinking more of the first one, obviously, because that sounds more realistic, but I think it would be cool story-wise for her to explain her actions to the husband further if they went the other route. So that's my thought of it. Alright guys, we're gonna talk about our third pairing of characters, and that's gonna be Petra and John. This is going to take place in 1973, so we're not talking about Petra and the older yet. That's probably next episode. This scene with Petra, she is back in the hotel where John found out where he killed many of his agent friends, and she realizes that he's starting to remember certain things, but not too much in detail. We go back to John, and John's going through his little drug tripping motion acting, and starts to remember things that happened back 9 months ago, where he was taken and how he was brainwashed and how he was tortured severely. I mean, we're talking electroshock therapy. We're talking about they're not feeding him, or they were feeding him, but not very minimal. They were beating him. They were doing kind of brainwashing with sound effects. I don't know the technical names of these things, but also just more like sleep deprivation type of thing. So eventually he turns on them. That's the long way of it. But the entire time they're doing this, they're just asking him what is his name, and that's a way of them to know that they were breaking him, is that he was telling his name to Petra, which Petra is the person who basically shows him kindness and a type of affection which he just desperately needed at that time, once being beaten up, half dead to everything. So Petra was the one who basically helped him to break that cycle of silence, and eventually got him to the level where he was now, where he's fully trained in fighting techniques, killing. He's able to go through certain obstacles relatively faster, to the point where he starts to pick up certain things that she says, like, "You're the fastest ever that we've had." So he wonders, there's been others, who are those people? Who's been at before him? And basically she breaks it off, that conversation, and then we get to that last scene of the whole episode, where he's basically asked to be put to the test, and the test was to kill 3 more fellow agents that there was abducted, and he recognized those people. So that's kind of where we left off on episode 1, or started I should say, where he killed 3 people to complete his training. And this is how we're seeing now how he thought of portraying the KGB, because these little interactions that he's had with Petra has kind of twisted his mind to follow orders, but also question them at the same time. So I think that it was kind of cool how they integrated the 2 episodes together, episode 1 and episode 6. So I think that was a great thing to have. And once he remembers all that information, he wakes up that the KGB found where he was in this little building where he was having his little psychedelic trip, and even drugged, the man can fight. The man beats up on like 3 or 4 KGB agents and escapes through there. And you also get to see another torture that he was involved with, or part of his training, I should say, not torture, is the water scene. When we see this water scene, we see it with with Doug, and Doug is the one who's killing another man in this water. So you get to see the two trainings put together with Doug and John on how to become a cicada. And then at this last part, we see Petra running John over. Basically, that's where he captures him. And I think in next episode, we're gonna see a little bit more information about how he really feels about Petra and show that emotional side. Maybe because of these memories, he's able to do further, fight scenes, but also at the same time maybe bring her to his side somehow. But then she goes back, obviously, later on, because in the present day she's older and she still believes in the KGB. So we'll see on that aspect too. All right, guys, and we're going to talk about our last character of the episode, and that's going to be Matt. And a little bit of the reason why I haven't talked about Matt more, and also Michelle Forbes' character, Ellen, is because I didn't think she was going to be significant in the position. I think she was going to be like a filler character, and I thought that she was going to be not seen very often, but it seems that she's going to be on there a lot more as we progress forward. And definitely in the story that we see in this episode, it seems like there's going to be even further more action with her involved with Matt and the other cicadas. So Matt is with this other cicada. Jacob is his name, we find out, and Ellen is trying to understand what's going on with Matt and the cicada. She's a little concerned of where her loyalty should lie, whether she should lie with Matt, or should it lie with also the agency, or both, or one or the other. So she's trying to figure this out, and she can't figure out what to do at this particular point. So Jacob is trying to lead Matt to his daughter, but really using the daughter as bait, because if these people knew who he was, they would go and seek the daughter, and this would be the perfect opportunity to get the people who abducted him and woken him up and things of that sort, which once they get to the daughter's house, turns out that that's what's the case, that he finds that these people are sitting in a sedan in the back and looking at them, waiting for them for the right opportunity. When they get out of the car, they start basically running after this sedan, and they're under fire, and you get to see the training that Jacob got with these people and essentially kill every single one of them. But the most significant part of this particular scene is that you see Jacob recognize the woman who also activated Doug in the backseat of the car, and it activated him. So he was really shocked to see this woman, and to the point of killing him, which obviously we see like, no, stop, don't, you won't know anything if you kill this person. Obviously we're thinking that, and you feel that you want to tell him that. Once Matt gets over there, he sees that this is the person we could have used for a lead, and he's telling him that we need this person. So they run away, they start doing the chase, and they get out of this scene or this area in the nick of time. But Helen is trying to find out what she should do, and she talks to a supervisor of hers. Basically, at one point of the scene, Matt and Helen are talking, and she is giving him an order to kill Jacob. And Jacob is not there, and Matt's saying there's more to this story. We can use him, he can help us, and plead his case, but he refuses and hangs up the call. Ellen tells the new boss this and basically sends agents after him, and he is determined to be a rogue agent. So Matt is on now being chased, and I think in the next episode we're going to see a little bit more of this chase scene with Jacob and Matt, because they want to shut him up and they don't want any more witnesses or stories to come out. And again, this is also because that Jacob can't control his anger and he's killing more people, so that was another reason. So it leaves you to wonder, is this really he's a bad guy or not, the boss? And I think that he's going to be one of those bad guys in the storyline, because I just feel like the way they're portraying him or the way he's acting it out, it seems like he's going to be a villain, and I think that he's going to be a villain in the next few episodes, and probably the head honcho of all this waking up of cicadas. After Matt hangs up the phone, he realizes that Jacob is listening to the conversation, and they get in the car, and Jacob asks him, did they ask you to kill me? He obviously said yes, and you could see that Jacob was ready to kill him had he said that he would take care of Jacob. So I'm really curious to see what's going to be going on with Matt and Jacob, how they're going to converse or how they're going to act going forward. Hopefully we'll see a little bit more of Ellen involved in defending Matt a little bit more, and maybe some action scenes with her. I think that would kind of be cool. And we find out also in this park, cicadas are being woken up by the CIA. So that's why I lead towards the boss being the part of this organization, because of the fact that when they find out the true identity of the woman who activated them, she is part of the CIA. Thanks very much, guys, for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time. Please hit that like and subscribe button below, and hopefully we'll have a little bit more conversations going forward. Thanks, guys. Have a nice day.